Hi everyone, I'm Jennifer Park, and this is Turning Leaf Field Notes, Episode 8, Why So Many Women Feel Lonely After Retirement. Welcome back to Turning Leaf Field Notes. I speak with women who have husbands they love, grown kids who call, and friends they've kept for decades, and there will still be times they feel lonely. It isn't the ache of missing someone specific, it is quieter and stranger than that. A kind of low-grade loneliness that shows up in the middle of an otherwise full day, surrounded by people who love them. I want to talk about that specific kind of lonely today because I think a lot of women experience it and assume something must be wrong with their relationships when really something else entirely is going on. And I want to be clear up front, it isn't a sign that your marriage, your friendships, or your family fell short. It's a sign that an entire category of connection disappeared at once and nothing has stepped in to replace it yet. There's a concept from sociology developed by Ray Oldenburg called the third place. Oldenburg's idea is that a healthy life needs three distinct kinds of places. The first place is home, the second place is work, and the third place is something different from both, an informal, low-stakes, unglamorous gathering spot where you see familiar faces regularly without needing an invitation or an agenda. A coffee shop where the owner knows your order, a gym class at the same time every week, the same few people at the grocery store on a Tuesday morning. For a lot of people, that third place is intentional, chosen, built over time on purpose. For those of us in education, school quietly functions as an accidental third place in addition to just being work. It is even more powerful, though, than the usual version because it wasn't occasional. It was daily, and it wasn't optional. It was built into the architecture of our entire working life. Dozens of small interactions a day, the same faces in the workroom every single morning, a hallway exchange that took 11 seconds and asked nothing of you, and yet somehow left you feeling very connected. None of those moments were deep friendships necessarily, but there were so many of them, so consistently, for so many years, that they added up to something real, even though nobody ever called it that at the time. Sociologist Mark Granovetter did influential research on what he called weak ties, the acquaintances and familiar faces in our lives who aren't our close inner circle, but who we encounter regularly. His work found that these weak ties matter far more than most of us assume for our sense of belonging, for information, for simply feeling woven into a community. They ask very little of us, which is exactly why we tend to undervalue them, right up until they're gone, and we discover how much quiet reassurance they've been providing all along. When you retire, you don't just lose a job, you lose an entire dense network of weak ties all at once, on the same day, and you lose the third place that housed nearly all of them. Your close relationships, your husband, your children, your closest friends are almost all certainly still there, but they were never designed to replace hundreds of small, low-stakes daily encounters. That's not what close relationships are for, and it's not fair to expect them to absorb a loss they were never built to fill. A weekly phone call with your daughter is wonderful, and it is not the same thing as 11 small hallway greetings a day, and it was never meant to be. So you can be fully loved and still feel the specific particular loneliness of missing that third place, as well as your work environment. And it doesn't mean your relationships have failed you. It means an entire category of connections went away at once. I want to be honest with you. Rebuilding a third place and that workplace don't happen by accident the way it did inside a school building. It has to be intentional now, at least at first. Not a project, not a 5-year plan for a whole new friend group, just a repeated low-stakes place you show up on a regular rhythm where familiarity can slowly accumulate the way it used to in the workroom, without you having to engineer deep friendships out of it right away. It might take a few weeks of showing up before a single face becomes familiar. That's not failure. That's simply how long it took the first time too. You just don't remember it happening because you were 22 and it happened inside a building you were required to enter every day. So here's what I want you to sit with. Where in your week, as it exists right now, could you begin showing up in the same place, at the same time, around the same familiar faces, without the pressure to make it more than that? A class, a walking group, a regular coffee order, a volunteer shift, anything that repeats. Don't rush build the whole thing today. Just notice one place that came to mind while I was talking. That's usually the honest answer. If this resonates, join me again here on After the Classroom. We'll talk about the emotional, psychological, and practical sides of this season, and together learn how to rebuild the kind of everyday belonging that a school hallway used to give us for free. If you'd like to keep the conversation going, I've created a free private Facebook community, also called After the Classroom, where educators walk with one another through this transition. I'll put the link below, and I hope to see you there. Until then, I'll see you in the next field note.